All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else, and the video I'm bringing you today, we are going to talk about my Stamina Necromancer guide. As you guys know, I've been posting a lot of videos with outnumbered PvP on my Stamina Necromancer. Wanted to go through all the different things I've been running, things that I like. As I said, this will not be a build video. This will just be a guide to talk about what I've enjoyed in different situations, because it all kind of varies, you know, depending on the fights you're getting in, depending on how many people you have with you, who you have with you, all those other sorts of things. So I'm going to go through the sets that I enjoy so far for Greymoor. I will talk a little bit about the next patch. We still are in the PTS. I haven't tested all the stamina proc sets. Some of the proc sets are going to be very, very powerful, even on a build like Stamina Necromancer that relies on burst. I need to test them all first, but this is going to be, you know, more no proc sort of thing. So with that being said, let's dive into it. The build that I've been running the most that you guys have seen is this one. I got New Moon Acolyte on the front bar. Everybody knows what New Moon Acolyte is. It's losing 80 weapon damage. It's still going to be really powerful. It's still a lot of weapon damage at the cost of only 5% increased cost of abilities. It's a good set. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not going to be bad. It just comes now more in line with sets like Spriggans and Titanborn. But yeah, I've been running New Moon on the front bar. Ring of the Wild Hunt infused with weapon damage. All of them infused, all weapon damage. I got 5-piece on the front bar, and then I'm back barring Armor Master, and with 2-piece Balorg. So what I have found with this build is I'm running Shuffle, and every 10 seconds, you know, I have to, when you're fighting outnumbered, you have to cast Shuffle every 5-6 seconds anyways, and so I will have really good uptime on the Armor Master on the back bar. It makes me a little bit tankier. It still allows me to run medium. It just works very well. You know, this is a crafted set. It is getting a buff next patch as it stands right now. It's a very, very nice armor set, and it continues to make us tanky. Plus, with Balorg and New Moon on the front bar, you know, we have plenty of damage. But yeah, I got Defending Sword, I got a Sturdy Shield. Front bar, I have a New Moon Acolyte Maul. So I like the combination. I am an Imperial. If I were to do this all over again, I think I would go Orc. When I first made my character an Imperial is when Necromancer first came out. As a lot of you guys know, Necromancer has a lot of health-based heal. Like, they have a health-based purge, and I wanted to make sure I had that reduced cost. Before, when this class first came out, Undead Confederate was only giving you half of what it is, and so having that increased sustain on an Imperial is also very nice. But now that they buffed that, I think I would go Orc. But Imperial's not bad. It's just, I think Orc's better. Nord's obviously a fine choice. You could obviously go, you could go with a few options, but I think Imperial and Orc are the best two options. I'm running Lavafoot Soup and Saltrice. I am running the Serpent Mundus Stone, fully buffed up with Armor Master. With our armor buff, we have just under 30,000 resistances, 35k critical resist, 21k health. That jumps up to like 27, 28k in PvP, 30,000 stamina on our front bar when we switch it over. Just under 5k weapon damage before Balorg. Anytime we hit with our ultimate combo, we'll have over 5,000 weapon damage, 29k stam. It's in a pretty good spot. We have pretty good damage, we have pretty good sustain. But I like the Shuffle and Ring combination because it just allows me to be a lot more mobile. Now, on a few builds in outnumbered situations, I was running the boots. You guys know that I have been running the boots quite a bit. The boots, in my opinion, are one of the best sets in the game. You'd switch out Shuffle, you'd put a loot on, and the boots in this sort of situation are fantastic because you're just never snared. Now, the reason I'm choosing the Speed Ring right now in Greymoor over the boots is the boots have a glitch that activate with them where sometimes when you're in combat, you still get snared. Now, they're fixing it next patch. Once they fix it next patch, I think going back to the boots will be the play that I will make because, you know, honestly, the boots just give you so much sustain because you're never snared. You don't have to cast Shuffle as much. But as it currently stands right now, it's really frustrating when they don't work. You get snared in place, and then you get very upset. So I'm going with Shuffle with the Speed Ring. You kind of accomplish the same goal. You move around a lot faster. You still have to cast Shuffle to remove snares, but both options are honestly very good. Now, I did try running Malakath on this build, and Malakath is okay, but honestly, you don't need the damage on a Necromancer. You know, the damage that you get from Malakath, in my opinion, with this type of build, with the fights that I've been getting, isn't as valuable as having the utility of the boots or the Speed Ring. You know, Necromancer already has so much burst built into the toolkit. I did try it. You could definitely run it. I just think that this is a better option. So these are my mythic-based choices. Now, if you don't want to run New Moon, you can absolutely run Titanborn, especially next patch. Like, Titanborn is going to be a great option. It's not getting adjusted. Like I said, it's going to be similar damage at 100% health as New Moon, you know, but you don't get the 5% cost increase, and you're going to do a little bit more damage when you drop below 75% health, which a lot of you guys know, that'll happen quite a bit. It's a good set. It's a good option in case you want that little extra recovery with similar damage. But yeah, I mean, New Moon's still going to be fine. You're going to buff your healing with New Moon more than you will with Titanborn. They're both good front bar options, but I think next pack I will probably go Titanborn for my Mythic setups. Now, this is what I was running in group play, and I've been accused of zerging, which is kind of amusing because I'm running in a 4-man group, but the off campaign right now is extremely zergy. Like, the amount of people that I'm running across is quite large, and I've had to adjust. And in order to adjust, in order to deal with the amount of people that I'm fighting, I've had to run with groups of people. I love that you guys think that I am so good at this game that I can fight 20 to 24 people, and me zerging with 4 people is, you know, not good. I appreciate that sentiment. Like, I'll take it as a compliment, I guess, but I can't, you know, I just can't. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's why you run in a small group. You know, as long as I'm fighting outnumbered, I'm happy. But yeah. Anyways, I digress. I had to put the gear on to show you what I'm talking about. But if you don't go with a Mythic, like let's say you don't have Greymoor, you don't have those sorts of things, this is the setup that I would run. I would back bar Pariah, or I would double bar Pariah, I'm sorry. I'd go 3 jewelry infused with leg and chest, Balorg medium, this is a 5 medium, 2 heavy setup, and then either Titanborn or New Moon. Like I said, you can switch these in and out. For the fights I was getting into solo, I preferred Titanborn a little bit more. You can obviously put an enchant on New Moon and get that sustain back, but honestly just switching to Titanborn just made it a little bit better. Titanborn coincides very well with Pariah. You know, as you get to lower health, you get tankier. As you get to lower health, you have more damage with Titanborn. It kind of stacks up pretty well. It's a nice combination. You also don't have to deal with the 5% cost. New Moon's going to give you a little bit more burst than Titanborn will. So if you just want to craft that set, away you go. That's the options that I would run. But non-mythic, I run Pariah on both bars, and then I front bar New Moon and I back bar Potentates. And yeah, I run the bow. Now, people have asked, and I'll go into the skills in a minute here. People have asked, you know, why do you run the bow solo without running any bow abilities? And I'll go through the skills that I'm running, but the main reason is the dodge roll passive. You know, I'm very tanky. Sometimes it's just easier and better to avoid damage than it is to block damage. And I'm not saying that Sword and Board's bad. It's just when you run across a large group of people, especially in this patch with the lower time to kill, it's a lot more effective to dodge incoming damage and to kite it than it is to try and face tank it. And this build has a combination of both. You know, I'm tanky because I'm wearing Pariah. I'm a Necromancer, so I'm a Necromancer wearing Pariah, so I'm very tanky enough as it is. And when I find stuff that I wouldn't be able to survive, I have some speed to where I can line of sight and go around and avoid incoming damage. You know, I also have access to major evasion. Some people will say, you know, why don't you run heavy? I get very good resistances with Pariah. You know, this jumps up to like 34,000 resistances. And then on top of that, I also have major evasion. And when you think about all the abilities in open world PvP that are AoE, having major evasion just makes you a heck of a lot more tanky. It also gives you the snare removal, you know, with major evasion kind of coupled in with each other. It's a very, very nice combination. So, back bar skills. Resolving Vigor. Summoner's Armor. I like Summoner's Armor over the one that pulls you because when you're line of sighting, there's nothing worse than pulling people on top of you, in my opinion. This reduces the cost of our abilities by 15%. Our Blastbone, Skeletal Mage, and Spirit Mender are reduced. Makes it very, very nice. If you like the other one, go with the other one. Shuffle. Shuffle if you're running the Speed Ring. Shuffle if you're running non-mythics or Malakath. If you're running the boots, go Elude. Because if you get hit by an AoE ability running Elude, you will have major expedition all the time. Very, very valuable for that reason. Mortal Coil. What's to say about Mortal Coil? This skill is so powerful. I've compared this to Dead in Pain and Mortal Coil. I feel like Mortal Coil gives me more than Dead in Pain does. You get a very nice heal. It also restores stamina. While slotted, your healing done is increased by 3%. You get so much of this ability, and it's free. So every time I cast an ability, and you know I have a corpse drop. Hold on, I don't want summon to guard, so I'm gonna have to summon. Oh, wait for it. Every time I have a corpse ability drop, I can free cast this for a free heal over time, which makes it insanely powerful. On top of that, Spirit Guarding, 10% damage mitigation, creates a corpse for Mortal Coil. This is a must-have. And back bar, if you're solo, I probably wouldn't go Pestilent Colossus. There's Mortal Coil, it's free. This is the tether that you see. Super, super nice. In group play situations, I like to back bar Pestilent Colossus. If I'm running around solo, I would adjust this and I would go with Temporal Guard. You want the 8% damage mitigation. Makes you a little bit tankier on your back bar. You know, oftentimes when you're solo, the Colossus Pestilent Colossus isn't the best choice solo. Other options, you know, you could still go Vampire if you want. Going to Bone Goliath transformation is also nice. You're going to get a lot of max health. You're going to be very tough to kill, and the one does a pretty good amount of AoE damage. This is a very nice combination. Like I said, I was running Vampire the last patch. I've ran it on this build as well. It's nice, you know. It's definitely nice. You can kill a lot of people going into Vampire ult on a Necromancer because it's buffing your blast bones and all your other abilities, and it's increasing your survivability by quite a bit. So back bar options, pretty normal. This also goes for sword and board, guys. So in group play, on my sword and board, I run the exact same skills. I just put the Necro Colossus ult on the back bar just for that extra vulnerability, because vulnerability in group play situations is ridiculously powerful. Front bar, both setups, they don't change. Dawnbreaker, Dizzying Swing, Blast Bones, Rally, Camo Hunter, and Executioner. Now, if you run Malakath, take off Camo Hunter. You're not going to be able to proc your Minor Berserk because you have to deal critical damage. You take this off, you can put something else on. You could put Caltrops on, you could put Soul Trap on, you could put on a bunch of different abilities. You could run the Expunge and Modify right here as well on a Necromancer. There's a few options if you run Malakath. Yeah, I just like the speed ring more, so I keep Camo Hunter on. What else was I going to say? Champion points. 56 points in a Warlord, 1 in a Siphoner, 75 Mooncalf, 5 Arcanist, 49 Tenacity, 73 Shadow Ward, 11 Tumbling. Now, if you're going with the bow build, take some out of Shadow Ward, put it in a Tumbling. It'll help you. 19 into Blessed, 81 Mastered Arms, 66 Precise Strikes, 28 Piercing, 76 into Mighty, 72 Ironclad, 47 Resistant, 56 Hardy, 56 Ally Defender, 7 into Thick Skinned, 32 into Quick Recovery, and that's the build. So yeah, if you're running bow, take some out of block, put it in a Tumbling. If you're running sword and board, I think this is a pretty good combination. So those are the different setups that I've been running. Like I said, if you don't want to farm Titanborn and you don't have it, you can craft New Moon. New Moon's going to be more than fine. If you find your sustain is just a little low with New Moon, you can run something like Spriggan's front bar. You could run Clever Alchemist front bar. There's a few front bar options that are pretty good. New Moon's just being brought down a line, but I wouldn't say you would have to replace New Moon. If you're running New Moon with this, it'll be one of the best options next patch. You could also front bar Essence Thief. You know, if you're running a bow or if you're running sword and board with a speed ring, you're gonna be able to pick up Essence Thief quite a bit, and so that'll boost your damage by a decent amount. But yeah, that's what I'm running. Next patch, Pariah's losing a little bit of resistances, but not enough to not make it, you know, a great set. I still think Pariah is the way to go, especially on a medium armor build if you want a little extra tankiness for outnumbered 1vx. Titanborn, Spriggans, New Moon front bar, Essence Thief, Clever Alchemist. Those would be my choices for the front bar. As far as monster sets go, Malabeth, Balorg, Engine Guardian, Troll King. Those would be my top 4. So this is how I have it set up. As far as our character sheet, I didn't show the stamina, I'm sorry, or the sustain. So if I summon this, I have 2400 stamina recovery, which is nice for a medium armor dodge rolling build. With continuous, it jumps up to 2600. You know, medium armor, I like the ability to block incoming damage, be kind of tanky. Oh, you got a bounty. I like the idea to be able to block incoming damage, avoid incoming damage, and kite around. And so you'll often see that I'll run a bow build over like sword and board. Obviously, sword and board's better 1v1. You know, it's better against smaller fights because you're going to be able to absorb more damage and stay in the fight a little bit longer, block a little bit more. It's just when you get into the bigger fights where you're going to really enjoy that value of kiting around. Now, you're going to ask, else, you know, what if I want to run the speed ring? Well, if you want to run the speed ring, like I said, you can back bar Armor Master. So you can run back bar Armor Master, and this is, once again, another very nice option that you can do. And you can just put on the speed ring. And then you have back bar Armor Master, you have front bar New Moon or Titanborn or whatever your damage set is, and you're even faster and you're more mobile. You're not going to be as tanky with this setup. I didn't like this setup as much as I like Pariah. That's why I'm posting it. So I tried it, it was good, but it wasn't as good. And so that's why I took this off. It was just okay. So hopefully this explains it well. If you guys have any questions or comments, you know, I've been streaming this for the last couple weeks. I wanted to test everything. As far as the next patch goes, proc sets are kind of in an interesting spot. You know, Sheer Venom right now is performing very, very powerfully. Venomous Smite is also very powerful. They both are probably so strong that they might make it on my build. You know, just with what they're providing, it's just so much pressure. Plus with the Defile that you get, it's really powerful. We'll see what the adjustments are going to be, but yeah, I mean, front barring a set like Sheer Venom or Titanborn next patch isn't a bad option either. You know, because you're just going to apply so much pressure when you crit. You know, when you critically strike and you proc that Venomous Smite and you have Blastbone Defile, it's going to be so much pressure on that one person. They're going to have a hard time recovering. Same thing with Sheer Venom. Sheer Venom scaling. When I was testing it last night, it was doing almost as much damage as Venomous Claw on the person I was fighting with. So that's another very powerful dot. It also scales than Execute, so if you drop somebody to half health, like you're going to do a lot on a Necromancer, Sheer Venom as a front bar option is also very powerful for a proc. So those would be my options. Obviously, you could run the Gap Closer, the Aggressor set. I do think Sheer Venom and Venomous Smite are a little bit stronger right now. I have to test it. I don't take me at my word. I think I would rather run those two because they proc a little bit more consistently. Like the one procs off critical damage, which will happen all the time with this type of build because you're closing in on just under 50% crit. The other one procs off your Execute. So when you hit with an Executioner, it's going to hit. If you can, we can slap Poison Injection on the back bar. We can proc it that way too. So there's a few different ways to proc both of those sets pretty easily. The other one you have to run a Gap Closer, which I'm not a huge fan of. You know, I'd have to take off Camo Hunter, which means my overall burst. You know, we'll test it, is basically what I'm trying to say. So that's the end of the video. Like I said, I posted multiple different clips of me fighting with this exact specific spec or specs. I provided the build editor links in all those videos, so feel free to go and test it out for yourself. But I will do a brief update when the new patch drops. You know, we'll have to wait for a couple more weeks on the PTS just to see where the proc sets are going to lie, if they have to make it on our bar, or if, you know, max damage sets are so good that we don't have to worry about that. We'll see. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you know, please provide in the section below. If I missed anything, I will do my best to answer it. Yeah. What did I miss? I'm running Lava Foot. I have 9 points in the health. Basically, you want around 27 to 30k health in PvP on a Necromancer right now. So that's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.